My producer, Laura, has only given me 60 seconds. So I'll do my best, Laura. I think you guys call this rip and read or something like that. The last, is that what it's called? Long time ago. I'm dating myself. Yes. Okay, we had dot matrix back. So the last time I was this nervous around so many media folks was at a murder scene in Bonita. And Artie Ojeda said, no sweat. We're all going live at 11. And I did feel the sweat. So I'll make this quick, Laura. Laura, we first met on the crime beat in San Diego about 25 years ago. Me with a badge, you with a photographer, pen, and a notebook. You helped me get the word out on so many murder suspects, so many fugitives from San Diego. I want to thank you on behalf of all the victims of crime you helped, and everybody else in this room too. So many fugitives. I thank you for all that you taught me about your world of, quote, real news. For your work with CCNMA, for your work with the San Diego Latino Film Festival. Thank you for being my best professor at City. I want to get an A in this class too. You taught me writing for television, news, and radio. You have thousands of students who have passed through your class and now are all over the world, literally sharing news stories with the masses. You really have impacted the world. So just who is Laura? Well, to know her is to love her. It was great to see her on television as a Latina because it made me proud of my culture. And just so you know, that's how important it is for all you bosses to see somebody on television that looks like you. It means a lot. Thank you. Laura Castañeda retired from San Diego City College after 17 years in the radio and television and film department. In 2019, where she served as chair and professor. She also spent time as a lecturer in journalism and media studies department and San Diego State University, as well as Point Loma Nazarene University. From 87 to 2000, Castañeda has worked in 3 different news markets: Chicago, she's a huge Cubs fan, San Diego, and Tucson, Arizona. She has held positions such as writer, assignment editor, field producer, reporter, and anchor. Laura spent many years working on both sides of the international border in Nogales and Tijuana, Baja California. She won 2 Emmy Awards for her magazine series, Stories de la Frontera, Border Stories. In 2008, her first documentary film, The Devil's Breath, was nominated for an Emmy Award and debuted at the San Diego Latino Film Festival. The film was screened at various colleges and universities across the United States and on KPBS affiliates Tucson, Chicago, Riverside, and San Diego. Ms. Castañeda is an alumni of the University of Illinois Urbana. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in English and a minor in sociology. She is a member of the Investigative Reporters and Editors, the National Association of Hispanic Journalists, the Society of Professional Journalists, and also the San Diego Press Club. Castañeda has served on numerous boards of directors, including the California Chicano News Media Association, the Latino Journalists of California, and the Unity Journalist of Color. It is my pleasure to present you, Laura, with this special and well-deserved award on behalf of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. Welcome to the 2023 Silver Circle.
When I first found out that I was being inducted into this prestigious group, I was, of course, honored and surprised, and I started to say to myself, oh my gosh, I am old, I'm old. And you start reflecting on your career and thinking about all the people and all the stories and everyone that you know. And I started thinking to myself, how did this little Latina, Chicana, from Logan Square on the northwest side of Chicago end up on the editorial board at the San Diego Union Tribune? And there was a lot of stops in between. At the beginning of my career, I had to pinch myself because I've been blessed. I started at the ABC station in Chicago, which you all know that doesn't happen very often. Of course, I was not on TV. I was a production assistant, an assignment editor. I paid my dues, but I was working with some of the best in the business. And I learned so much from them. And I will always remember that. I was a witness to history. I got to see some incredible things unfold in Chicago, in my hometown. The lights went on at Wrigley Field because they hadn't before that. I witnessed, unfortunately, the life and death of the first Black mayor of the city of Chicago, Harold Washington. And then I decided it was time to move on. And the people that I worked with told me, don't stay here, kid. If you have a dream, go after it. So I made a demo reel and sent out 60 tapes where you had to take them to the post office. It was a long time ago. And I ended up in Tucson, Arizona, which was my first taste of the border region. And I fell in love with that. I learned about the wild, wild west, and I learned that there was white menudo. Yes, they do eat white menudo there. And I covered the life and death, unfortunately, of the pre-presidential candidate Luis Donaldo Colosio. And I started crossing the border a lot to cover stories. So it was natural. Then it was time to move on. I came to San Diego, and I was so blessed and so lucky to land in San Diego. I continued with the border coverage and worked with some pros here. I see some of them here who I haven't seen in a very long time, and it's very nice. After my tour at KGTV, we won't go into the management things that happen and contracts and all that. We'll leave that out today. But I ended up again with a great team, Cox Channel 4 with Dennis Morgino and gang. I did some freelancing at UCSD TV with Shannon Bradley and crew. And then I took another twist and turn and ended up as a professor at San Diego City College, thanks to Hope Shaw. I still don't know how that happened. And then in my 50s, I reinvented myself, not wanting to be part of HD TV. And in the middle of a pandemic, I was hired by Matt Hall to join the editorial board at the San Diego Union Tribune. Those folks, Jeff Light, Laura Sicalo, and Matt really took a chance on bringing a broadcast person over to the newspaper, and I'm very blessed. I do get to use my multimedia skills, as there's a show that Luis Cruz hosts. He and Alejandro Tamayo and Paula Hernandez have brought me on to be a part of Nuestra Voz. If you haven't seen it, I really hope you do, because it's a great show. So those are things you know. Now I want to tell you just a few things that you might not know about me. The only thing I ever wanted to do more than be a journalist was be a professional volleyball player. But at 5'2", I went as a walk-on at the U of I, and the coach said, don't call us, we'll call you, and that never happened. That's true. When I was at ABC 7 one weekend as the assignment editor, there I was doing my thing, and an armed gunman snuck into the building where the news crews used to park their trucks underneath. And for 2 days, they couldn't find him in the newsroom. And that Sunday, Chicago PD came in with guns drawn and told us we had to get out. So I manned the newsroom that day from a walkie-talkie on the corner of State and Lake in a news van. That's a true story. Whoa. No one got hurt. And yes, we made all the papers. And around that same time, I had to wake up my boss, Tom Dolan, news director, before cell phones at 3 o'clock in the morning to tell him that Chicago was in the middle of one of the biggest power outages that the city had ever seen. And I was terrified. I was still kind of young, but I got a promotion and a raise out of it. And Matt Hall just gave me permission to wake him up in the middle of the night, because we had a situation the other day when I should have done that, and I didn't. Shame on me. When I was in Tucson, 2 weeks before I came here to San Diego, I went on a ride-along with the Pima County Sheriff's Department. And that night turned into an officer-involved shooting where I became a witness. The Sheriff's Department took away our tapes, yes, tapes. And I ended up pulling an all-nighter and covering that story the whole next day for the station. Those are the things that people don't know that you deal with, right? Thank yous, there are so many. There are so many. And when you work in television news or on a team at the editorial board and the opinion pages, you could never take the glory for the things that you do, because it takes so many people behind the scenes to make it all happen. And one time I asked Father Louis, my dear friend who I lost recently, why do you think God put me on this journey? Why this journey? And he said, you know what? You're a messenger, so use your messages wisely. And I've always kind of kept that tucked in my pocket. I've missed so many family functions that I have to say thank you to my father, Ignacio and Ana Maria. With their love and support, I could never have done this. They used to critique my work when I used to mail the tapes to them. My dad always on the editorial side. Oh, I don't know about that story, and you could have done this and should have done this. And my mother, like a great viewer, I didn't like the clothes you had on and your makeup was off. To my husband, Luis, Huicho, te amo, te quiero. You're so patient and such a great cook, by the way. I married into a blended family. My daughter, Brisa and Eric, are both here with me today. And missing is Sirena and Luis Jr., who have really made me whole. I never thought I wanted kids, but oh my gosh. For always waiting for me. They're always waiting for me. You all know this in this business. Someone that you love is always waiting. To NATAS and the Board of Governors, my goodness, thank you for this honor. And thank you for putting on this beautiful event. It's my first time here. And the Emmy Awards, because the students have always enjoyed that. Pete, thank you for your friendship. Thank you for this nomination. It means the world to me, especially when law enforcement and media don't always get along. To all my work families, all of you that I've worked with over the years, you spend more time with the people that you work with than you do your own families, and I adore all of you. My current work family, Luis Cruz, Alejandro Tamayo, Matt Hall, Bella Ross, Tanya Navarro, Chris Reed, and Andrew Kleski. My goodness, thank you. Another dear friend that I lost during the pandemic, Eugene Standback, who helped me put together my first reel, told me, don't you ever forget your photogs and your technical people. So for all those people that never get mentioned, thank you, thank you, thank you. All my comadres and my compadres, my friends that I've met along the way, you're amazing. And to all my students, I am so proud of all of them. They're working in English language and Spanish language everywhere. Tomorrow is not promised. We all know that. I will continue to fight for diversity in newsrooms, to see more women and people of color in higher positions. And I hope that I will continue to be a storyteller until the day I take my last breath. Thank you.